Over the edge, feel like I'm floating through the air. The pain I felt is paid for, all is said and done. Oh, I am restricted, fixed upon the web. I need to kick the habit that my mind is breathing in. Break out, I've got to see. Spent all my life holding all of it closely. I played it innocent, a feel of discontent. I'm finally facing it all, fearless. Burning the bridge that keeps us. I'm here and I'm feeling exaggerated, that's what you assume. The story's over now, I must conclude. I am conflicted, watching where I step still, hanging in the balance. Not the life I want to live, I want to take it all. Standing tall, fear I've weighed the person you are. Oh, break out, I've got to see. Spent all my life holding all of it closely. I played it innocent, a feel of discontent. I'm finally facing it all, fearless.
Yee-haw! Gather up your pirate crew, me hearties. It's time to sail all the various seas. And hello to everyone. I am Red-Haired Shanks. Actually, no, I'm the anime guy. But it's me as Red-Haired Shanks today. I want to say hello to everybody, and before I do that, actually, let me go ahead and bring on the master of the pirates, the weeb of weebs when it goes to all things One Piece. And it's Ironcaster. Ironcaster, how are you today?
Oh, it is going good. This is a glorious day because I finally got someone to start into some One Piece. I finally got to share this journey with someone.
Yes, and a journey it will be indeed. This is going to be an ongoing series for pretty much as long as it takes. And when it goes to this, we got a long ways to go. We got a long ways to go and a short time to get there. We got to put on a pirate run. Ho 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 ho. Oh, I love the band, Smokey and the Bandit. But today is all about the One Piece, and I want to say hello to everyone who's already here. Excuse me. Awesome one. Welcome to you, and I see that you've popped back in. Hello, hello, hello. And we are multicasting on my channel here on YouTube, my channel on Rumble, and Ironcaster's channel on YouTube. So welcome to everyone. And let's see, who else is here? Let's see, let's see. Gofina, welcome to you. Isakata Recruiter Truck Coon, welcome to you. Fenrir the Ice Wolf, hello, hello, good to see you. Mohammed said, welcome to you, great to have you here. And of course, Ironcaster's here. And Dragon Ruse, one of my favorite dragons, good to see you. D. Oberg, welcome to you. Yes, happy Memorial Day. We would never forget those who made the ultimate sacrifice for freedom. Indeed, indeed, welcome to you. Good to see you today. Let's see here. Who else? Vinziger, a.k.a. El Utaku, a.k.a. the Weeb Pillar, is here. Welcome to you. And let's see. Tits and Ray Guns. Who doesn't like both of those? Let's see. I think we're all caught up on who's here. Oh, Sergeant George Ishak, welcome to you. Great to have you here. And I did see Veritax over on YouTube. Welcome to you. Unfortunately, I can't highlight the other, but, that's all right. Eventually, they'll figure that out. And Happy Dino 8000, welcome to you. Great to have you here. Excuse me. Yes, the world building, even just in the little bit that I've read into and watched so far, it's quite extensive and rather enjoyable. And yes, I did mean Rumble. Yes, I did mean Rumble. Hey, Veritax, good to have you over on the YouTube side now. All right, before we begin, let's answer this question. Is One Piece really worth watching? Yes. I would say yes. Right now, we've only gone through just the first three story arcs. At the beginning, the story arcs are considerably smaller than what they eventually get to. But so far, from what I've read, which is up through chapter 41, and the episodes cover up to episode 18, absolutely. It is a very beautifully done story and a very beautifully animated show. So since Ironcaster is the man amongst the weebs here when it goes to this, what say you about the early volumes of this in the early episodes?
When I started reading, and back in 2003, so 20 years ago, it was a series I had kind of overlooked a bit. I was still reading it because at the time I was getting the physical copy of Shonen Jump when it was first coming out in America. Mm-hmm. And it's like I enjoyed it, but I always kind of went back and forth between this and Naruto for the ones I enjoyed the most out of the book. So it would always kind of depend, this week I like One Piece more, this week I like Naruto more. And it comes from it has a much more sort of innocent feel to the book in these early years. Mm-hmm. It's one that kind of takes its time to, I feel like, properly develop, and it's a journey you go on, and I feel like you can appreciate more as you get into it.
Excellent indeed. And I want to say hello to a few other people that have shown up. Visharana Asura, hey y'all, been a One Piece fan for over 20 years. Yeah, there you go, an OG One Piece. And Happy Dino says he's going to start Kaiju number 8. That's a fairly, from what I understand, that's a really good new one. So I can't wait for the anime of that to come out, because it's coming sooner rather than later. And Cam's Crash Course is welcome to you. Good to have you here today. It's been a little while since I've seen you. Welcome to you. And RC Scott is in the house. Thank you very much. And for all the channel members out there, toss out them emojis. And there are several ways that you can help support this endeavor. The first is by becoming a channel member. Do offer 3 different levels. For as little as $2 a month, you become a weeb and get all the cool emojis and stuff. And I do try to do giveaways every now and then. If you really like your anime, you can become an otaku and become part of the otaku army. Or if you're, let's face it, if you really, 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 really either like me or really, 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 really like anime, I do offer the ultimate for the neats out there. And it is the welcome to the NHK level. And with it, I'll haven't had anybody take me up on it, but as soon as somebody does, there are some extra perks that I couldn't put in the description because of legalities with YouTube. So, and of course, you can always super chat. And if there are any specific items that you wish us to talk about regarding that, if you do a super chat, we will definitely hit it up. So, thank you so very much, and I appreciate everyone here already getting pretty good size. So, I do actually have some new Alucard breaks, but they're actually one-piece breaks, and I think I'm going to show one off here. This is one of my favorite characters so far. He's very Michael Jackson-like.
You fools! What makes you think that I would want to reveal my masterful hypnosis techniques to a bunch of roadside strangers?
Django.
1, 2, Django.
Yes, he's so funny. Oh, so where shall we begin on this grand adventure?
Well, actually, if you don't mind me, taking the stage from over here to kind of go over a couple notes I kind of have just for. I feel like it's worth kind of pointing out just how big, how popular this show is.
Mm-hmm.
So, a little bit of history. It started in 1997 was when it was first published in Weekly Shonen,
Mm-hmm.
which was kind of coming off of they needed a new series to take the place of Dragon Ball, and
Okay.
well, are 25 years later. I'd say they got that.
They got the series they were looking for, the one they needed to take the place of Dragon Ball.
Among others.
Among others, yeah.
By 2004, it had earned over $1 billion of merchandise sales alone.
Very nice. So,
Let's see, kind of a little list. Of course, we did eventually get it from of all places, 4Kids.
I do remember seeing that or doing on the research. There was a 4Kids dub, and they, of course, since it was 4Kids, they did some editing and scrubbing of shows, unfortunately.
Yes, and it was not a series they had. One, they didn't properly screen it, so they didn't know what they were getting. But it was also part of a package deal with some other shows they did want to be able to then adapt for kids.
So they didn't want it originally, huh?
Right.
Wow.
And it's gone on to become quite memeable in a way. Such as characters like Sanji, who we will later meet, who's famous for smoking cigarettes, was a lollipop-sucking bastard.
Oh, of course they they would do something like that. And I do want to address one thing here real quick. I have heard about it, and they got properly and utterly thrashed for the stupidity of it. I personally don't give a shit about the drag show stuff, but it is an activity strictly for adults. Anytime that you start including people that are not 18 or making it readily available for them to see, that's where the line is drawn, and they thoroughly got their asses handed to them for that. So I'm glad people stood up to them and told them, don't be stupid. So let's see. Roadside stranger as a pejorative. I'm stealing that. Anyways, continue on.
Find my notes. There were a couple of notable. See if I can find an image of this. And one of the things to get around some of this, they had to come up with some interesting alters to what was on screen.
Yeah.
So, for example, in one of the first couple of episodes, there's a notable scene where Helmeppo, who we will come to meet, is basically has a gun pointed at his head. Well, 4Kids.
Yes.
4Kids. This.
Okay, I see the difference. And fortunately, the version I'm watching is the second one, the real one. So I see what you mean there. Yeah, the 4Kids, they for kids television, they couldn't they couldn't obviously have a gun pointed at someone's head, but yeah.
Still, it's little things like this. If I can find any other notable ones, I will bring them up as we go.
Oh, yeah, there we go. Okay. All right.
Let's see. Just for context, there's like what 102, 103, 104 volumes of the manga out currently.
Let's see how far. Volumes 80, 90, 105. Yeah, I think they've actually got a new volume set to come out here in the next little bit. So,
Ooh, that'll be good. So,
yeah, tons of volumes.
The series has gone on to sell somewhere in the ballpark of the last number I heard was over 500 million books have been printed.
Holy crap! That is a ton. Well, I can say honestly, I've devoted to 3 of those. I've been getting the omnibuses. I think I prefer them because of the price. Shonen Jump isn't expensive. Typically, a volume for them is only $10. But if I have to do 100 plus of them, an omnibus for $5 each, I'll take the omnibus, even if it's a little smaller.
This is one of the series where I think it probably would be, just due to sheer size, it's probably worth going for the Shonen Jump app and paying the $3 a month, because this is 1,000 chapters of manga.
Yeah, that it is. Although
I'm just purely based on shelf space. Like, it is going to be an entire, it is going to be multiple shelves on a bookshelf.
Oh yeah. It eventually will be. Right now, I only got the 3 volumes. I did go to my manga shop yesterday, and I did buy the 3rd volume. And I was looking at his inventory because my shop has only been open since March, so they're brand new. He has been selling just ridiculous amounts of manga, and he finally got in some of them that I've been begging him to get. He finally got the Fist of the North Star, but that's a story for another time. But he had every single one of the omnibus up to, I think, volume 100. He only had one more of 7, 8, and 9, and then he doesn't have any more until we get into the 20s. So he's selling them out. He's selling a ton of them, and it's so good to see. But I thought, I better get that to be prepared when we go into next month and make sure I've got my bases covered. I'm back into collecting mode. Okay. I don't have a ton of space, but I do like collecting the things that I really like. And so far, this is definitely worth collecting. So if you don't have the space, the Shonen Jump app makes perfect sense. Digital, read it on your computer, put it on your tablet, however you prefer to read it. But if you have the space, definitely get the manga. It's so worth it.
One of the things I do like with the Shonen Jump app is for anyone who is caught up, you can read the latest chapters for free. You do not have to pay. So if once you get to that point where you're all caught up, you're reading for nothing. Paying for it's worth it for the back catalog just alone. Just for the sheer amount of series on there.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's because they're woke. That's why they suck. Whereas this isn't woke. It's just a lot of fun.
So a couple of little things here. One of my other notes. The first 100 volumes have each sold at least 1 million copies in Japan alone.
Wow. That's impressive.
50 of the last 51 premiered at number 1 the weeks they released. The only one time that one of them did not was because it was Demon Slayer.
So that would have been back in, 2016, 17, 18, thereabouts?
I think it was actually 2019.
Is that when Demon Slayer actually released? I know that's when the anime started.
I think it was specifically volume 16.
Oh, okay. That's interesting that they keep debuting at number 1 except for that one time.
And not only that, when for all of Japan, One Piece was consistently the best-selling manga for 11 years straight, from 2008 to 2018, only to be beaten in 2019, and then I think going forward by Demon Slayer.
Interesting. Well, consistency definitely is the key, and Mr. Oda definitely has had consistency in the when it goes to the releasing of One Piece. Have there ever been any breaks with it or anything like that you're aware of?
In recent years, there's been there's been the odd break of like a month here or a couple weeks there because it's been 25 years, and I think he's slowly kind of getting to that point where he's finally getting into. He says we're finally getting into the final arc.
After all these years, he's finally ready to end it. I'm okay. I know this is probably maybe touching on spoiler-ish territory, but I want to ask what you believe the One Piece to be.
Oh, that's a good one. Because the thing is, to this day, we still don't know for certain what it is. It has been the mystery hanging over the series that's always been.
Are there hints or clues or anything like that that's been dropped over the years?
Nothing's coming to mind for particularly clues because, I mean, we've come close in some places where we found where they've had a chance, where Luffy and the crew have had a chance to find out, where they've met the first mate to Gold Roger.
Oh,
Where they were told where they realized we could just ask him where it is. We can just ask him everything. And the thing was, at that moment, Luffy had said, I don't want to know. If you ask him, I will quit and I will go home.
wow. I guess I can understand that. That seems to fit in character with Luffy as far as how his thought process. And Vishro Osana says his favorite One Piece character is Whitebeard. And Muhammad said that he was looking for a reason to read One Piece from the beginning. A recent chapter is the reason why. I think you had made mention of that. There was something from one of the more recent chapters that triggered something in your mind. And like, I got to go back to the beginning.
Yeah. One of the nice things with this series, Oda will go and really plan things out because there is stuff he set up that I don't want to say didn't make sense at the time, but it was easy to overlook. But then literally years later, I'm looking back like, wait a minute, wait.
Yeah.
I can go back. I gotta go reference this. Did he just, like, for example, you'll see someone with a tattoo that you'll think, oh, you might not think much of. You're thinking, oh, that's a really cool design. Only to realize that, oh no, that tattoo is a representative of like this crew over here, and I just didn't realize it at the time.
Now, when it goes to the movies, are the movies continuity or are they standalone alternative things like so many others do?
So the first, like, I believe, because there are about 14, 15 movies. The first, like 14 or so, or no, not 14. The first about 9 are all kind of fairly their own thing. We kind of don't deal with much of those. But it's once they get to, I think, movie 10 is where Oda got to start coming in, got to start kind of putting things and helping to plot those out.
Okay.
So it's those later movies where they become relevant, where they start to put in episodes that are like effectively prequels to the movie.
Very interesting. I've actually seen One Piece Red, and that was actually my first anything with One Piece. So going to the cinema with my young weebling, because I told her she had to go with me, otherwise she couldn't do what she wanted to do. She was bored, obviously, because But after seeing it and seeing how everything played out, the first thing that I noticed was, Shanks definitely plays a bigger part in things than we're led on to believe, at least to begin with, I think. But I also come to think that the One Piece, I have a feeling that it's not a thing. I have a feeling that One Piece is a person or it's an idea. And once that either person has been found or that idea has been expressed, that's when you become the king of the pirates. And I think that's why, when it goes to Luffy, I think that's when he finally gets that, once he finally does become that king, some things are going to click and it's really just going to blow everybody's mind. That's my own thought on it.
It's not a bad idea. I'm kind of more of the mind that I don't think it's going to actually necessarily be a physical thing. I think it's going to be sort of some knowledge, some information that's going to be kind of that we'll find out at the end. because
Okay.
we have sort of seen that as Luffy and the crew have gone on, they've happened to have kind of gone to some places where they've seen hints of Gold Roger having been there. So I think we're seeing kind of a similar journey. Just kind of as this like idea of, well, he's recognized as the king of the pirates because he went here, he was this great hero here and there, and
Yeah.
just by actions. Oh,
Vishra is saying that Oda said it was a thing years ago. Okay. I would think you would think that it would be a thing, an actual, collectible or something that you have to have in order to get that. But the whole idea of it being a person or an idea to me seems intriguing, but that was my thought process. And yeah, a lot of books, that's a lot of money and a lot of shelf space. That's why I'm doing the omnibuses. Although now that I think about it, they take up about as much space as 3 volumes too. So not much space saved. But I like the omnibuses. I think they're nice looking. And the sheriff is here. Hello, Punk Waddle, but he's actually Beard Waddle today. So welcome to Beard Waddle. And behave, everybody. The sheriff's in town. Ooh. Black Lagoon. Revi Elite Solo Statue pre-order. 200 to 500 still available. That would be an awesome piece to collect. So for you collectors out there, be sure to check that out. Let's see here. Hello, Renee. It's good to have you here. When they mistakenly gifted a bomb to Big Mama in Fish Island and it exploded 300 episodes later. Oh, you gotta love the long setup. Well, it's not 1,000 books. It's 1,000 chapters, and it's over 100 volumes, and each volume is about 8-ish or so chapters, if I'm thinking correctly. That sounds about right. Yeah,
that sounds right.
Yeah, but I think it's time that we take another quick little another pirate break. This was Roger's last words, or at least the start of it.
Wealth, fame, power. Gold Roger, the king of the pirates, attained this and everything else the world had to offer, and his dying words drove countless souls to the sea.
They drove countless souls to the sea, and what were those words? It was this.
You want my treasure? You can have it. I left everything I gathered together in one place. Now you just have to find it.
Now you just have to find it. Indeed, you just have to find it. Oh, so let's see here. What else have you got in your notes there that you wanted to hit up first?
So apparently from the interview with the 4Kids people, they said they didn't know what they were getting into, and quote, the experience of producing One Piece ruined the company's reputation.
Oh, I bet it did. They muffed that up pretty bad from what I gather, and I can. But then again, at the time when they were just getting started with it, they obviously didn't know what they were getting into. But I don't know. That's how do we describe it? How do we describe how it all played out? Do they even still exist?
I don't even think they do anymore.
Well, in that case, we know how bad it was for them. It destroyed them. Completely ruined the company. Not just the reputation, but the company itself.
Because, they would have to go and try to turn all the guns into, super soakers if they could.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, trying to take something that's more, TV 14, for older teenagers and then young adults. And trying to turn it into something for more like 6, 7, and 8-year-olds. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And hello to 5 pick seconds. Okay, but be honest. The 4Kids pirate rap goes hard. Yeah. Keely Chow, Roll Tide. Good to have you here this morning. Great to see you. Yeah. How many episodes did 4Kids actually do before they lost it or got out of it?
My understanding is they got through the first, they had taken about the first 160 episodes and condensed it down to 104.
Mm-hmm.
Which is to say, by the time they got to the first truly sort of epic saga, which was Alabasta.
Yeah.
which again
Interesting.
down the line we'll get there. It's basically giant Egyptian desert kingdom.
All right, here we go. They're saying right before JS starts is where they made it up to, and the last episode they did has the pirate ship falling out of the sky.
Yep.
Interesting. So, since I'm not that far along, it'll be interesting to see all that. But once they lost the license to it, it looks like Funimation's the one that has it and has had it since. Now, the dubbing that I've been watching, I believe, is the Funimation dub, or at least I believe it is. But if I was looking at it right, most of the people that are doing the voice acting have been doing it from the beginning, or do we know when they actually started that process?
My understanding is, I think one of the first things they had gone and done was the eighth movie, which was a retelling of the Alabasta Kingdom storyline.
Yeah, and I'm with you there. I really do like the dub, but you're right. The guy that's the voice actor is a piece of shit. As a person, he's a piece of shit. Voice actor, he's okay. He's good. But yeah, he's an asshole. No debate for me there. So let me ask you this: when it goes to the anime, do you prefer the original Japanese, or are you good with the dub?
So for watching through it, so far I've been watching the subs.
Mm-hmm.
So I've been kind of going back to the original there. I might jump over to the dub for a little bit just so I can kind of get that comparison. So I think that'd be worth it to have that little comparison in contrast.
Yeah,
I kind of go either way on them. Not every dub is bad, not every dub is good either.
Yeah. So far, I would say I've watched the first episode in Japanese and then dubbed. That first episode was terrible. As far as the dubbing goes, it wasn't up to snuff, but once I got past that and started getting to the second and third, the voices grew on me. The voice for Luffy, the gal that does his voice is fine, and of course, what's his nuts that does Zoro's voice. Obviously highly recognizable, and of course the voice of All Might, ha ha, and all that, and yes, good afternoon to you, Shum, and he would like to extol the wisdom of our Lord and Savior, Mochaki Toya. It's good to have you here, Shum. Good to have you. But
was it Chris Sabat?
Yes, Chris Sabat. That's who it is, and he's an asshole. From everything I understand about him, he's one of the guys that worked over Vic. So yeah. Which isn't nice, but it's how it's history now, and unfortunately, you can't go back and change it. So, let's see here. But yeah, between the two, as far as places where you can watch this through standard legal methods. So let me give my standard disclaimer. When searching and watching anime, you should try to do so through all legal means possible, whether it be through High Dive, Crunchyroll, Netflix, etc. But in case you can't support any of these beep-loving companies, or companies that are full of assholes, and you decide to become and throw up the Jolly Roger just like how Luffy does and goes pirating across the country, please be sure to use protection. Because the last thing you want to have is the clap ending up on your claptrap. Because claptraps don't like the clap. There we go. Standard disclaimer given. I noticed that with Crunchyroll, they only have the subtitled editions. Netflix has the dub and the sub, but they only have like the first half of the show. Funimation has both the dub and the sub, and Netflix has the high def remaster of the original. And that's the one that I've actually been watching, not from Netflix, but from the usual suspect places. And,
I've been using Crunchyroll for it. So
okay.
And what's nice is they have both the standard definition from those early episodes, and then they have the high definition remasters.
Yeah, looking at it, it was very forward thinking of the Toei. Yeah, it was Toei, or is it Toho? No, it's Toei.
Toei.
It was very forward thinking for Toei to actually have it from the beginning done in the standard 16:9 aspect ratio, because right at that time DVDs coming out, the transition to high def was starting. So they were very forward thinking with that. But then, for TV broadcast, they of course cropped it, but they didn't destroy any of the negatives, and they were able to go through and redo the originals that were all hand done, bring it up to spec for when they did switch over to using computers to do the drawings. So it does help. It does help maintain a continuity with it. So yeah, it's yeah. Computers don't catch. Yeah, the computers don't like that. They definitely don't like that. But it does help. It really does help with how it looks, and I think it's, as I said, the hand drawn stuff is beautiful. It really is, and you can see the amount of time that they put into it. There are certain places where they can cut back on the animation, and they do. Other places where they increase it, and it looks really good. I was very impressed with it.
If memory serves, some of the later seasons get a little choppy with some of the animation, but the most recent, I think the most recent story arc, Wano, has absolutely beautiful art. Like it's like they took it a step up.
Yeah. Yeah, and you're right there. There's still a lot of stuff that they have on Funimation that is either not on Crunchyroll or they don't have the whole thing. Besides, the dub of this, they also don't have Tenchi Muyo, any of it, over on Crunchyroll yet. So, yes. So besides that, I think, let's see, who is it that does the that is handling the Shonen Jump? It's Viz Media for here, if I remember correctly. Let me look at the book real quick. Hold on.
I think you might be right.
Yeah, Viz Media is the one that's handling the manga releases here, and I don't believe that they've had any controversy or issues over the years with the translations or moving it over to this country. So, good on them, and good for them to do that. Now, let me ask you, when besides rewatching this on Crunchyroll, what physical media of this wonderful series do you have?
Let's see. So I happen to have one of the wall scrolls, but I think it's of like a poster that was done for like movie 8.
Mm-hmm.
I have one of the figure art statues for a character who you'll come to meet later, Portgas the Ace.
Okay. Yeah, I have no idea who that is, so it'll be it'll be a surprise when I get there.
Yep. I happen to have the 8th movie on DVD.
Oh, okay.
And I think I have one or two of the like PlayStation 2 era games. So
yes, that is another aspect of One Piece, is the games that have been made available throughout the years.
Which they're still going with it. In fact, the latest game I think is called One Piece Odyssey, which is kind of on my radar for something I want to check out. And I think if any series is worthy of the name Odyssey, I'd say this one is it.
Yes, I do remember seeing that one come out. They do have it on the computer. What I need to find is a wiki that shows all the games, and I'm not seeing them. Of course, all the real games, not these stupid, on your phone, dumbass games. If you're a game player on your phone, that's great. I think it's dumb. I stopped doing that. I stopped doing that when Angry Birds started including commercials after every slingshot. So, yeah, the mobile game space is an absolute joke. So let's see here. Thank you for sharing that. Let's take a look at this here. One Piece video games. So besides the ads that are there, let's see. Tie-in video games for One Piece have been published by Bandai Namco Entertainment. Good choice. Since 2000. Let's see. How many of them are there? They had stuff for the Wonder Swan, the Game Boy Color, the Advance, the DS, PlayStation, the Cube, the PlayStation 2. Let's see. Cube and PlayStation 2, the Wii, the 3DS, the 3, the PSP, the Vita, the 4, the Switch, the PC, the Xbox One. Let's take a look at what's So for those that don't know, the WonderSwan was an attempt to go up against the Game Boys of the era, and nice little machine, but obviously it didn't work out. Let's see, do they actually... Okay, so let's actually start with the Game Boy Color. So we have Birth of Luffy's Dream Pirate Crew, The Grand Line Dream Adventure, Big Secret Treasure of the Seven Phantom Islands, Aim the King Berry, Going Baseball, Baseball of One Piece, Dragon Dream, Jump Superstars, Gear Spirit, One Piece Giant Battle 2, and on the original PlayStation, Set Sail Pirate Crew, back in August of 2001, Grand Battle 1 and 2, and then Ocean's Dream. For the GameCube, they had Treasure Battle, PlayStation 2, Round the Land, Fighting for One Piece. Then for both the Cube and the PlayStation 2, they had Grand Battle 3, Grand Battle Rush, Pirates Carnival, Battle Stadium. On the Wii, they had Unlimited Adventure, Unlimited Cruise, some stuff on the 3DS. Let's see. One Piece Pirate Warriors 2, J-Stars Victory VS.
Those Pirate Warrior games are the Dynasty Warriors clones. No, they were produced by Koei. So,
okay, that explains that. Koei and Bandai teamed up. Okay. Let's see, for the PlayStation Portable, Romance Dawn, Dawn of Adventure. For the Vita, they had a bit of everything. Coming into the modern era, they've got Pirate Warriors 3, Burning Blood, Unlimited World Red, One Piece World Secret, Pirate Warriors 4, Jump Force. And then, let's see, PC, Pirate Warriors 4, Unlimited World Red. And those...
There's quite a few.
Yeah. Those were the international releases. Specific for the US are all these ones here. So a ton of them on the PlayStation 4, a few of them for the Xbox, quite a few of them for the PC.
Which, at that point, we're talking just cross-platform, like
yeah.
Pirate Warrior games. Like, I've been playing them on Steam, so...
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, they did mess up Mashal a little bit, but what they did is... I got to address this real quick, because I have seen this. In the manga, and I believe they didn't do it in the anime, but in the manga, one of the characters has a thing for his sister, but Mashal doesn't know that yet, and he calls him a lolicon, and says, no, I just have a thing for my sister, whereas in the English, they call him a pedo, and they need to have their ass kicked for that because they're not one and the same. So, you know what happens to people that we do that does that? They need to have this happen to them.
If they can still stand, then you gotta keep pulling the trigger till they lie down.
Yeah. That's what needs to happen to assholes that screw with the translation. It's bullshit. That's the one hill that I will die on when it goes to defending anime is the P word and the L word are not the same. But anyways, yes, Miss Pac-Man is awesome. And hello to Jaden Hamilton. Hello and welcome to you. I have not read Berserk, but I do have Berserk #1. Zanzlatan, welcome to you. Great to have you here. Snacks, good to see you. It's great to have you here. And yeah, Mad Bull 34. Someone gets the old school. Mad Bull it's Mad Bull. But now that we've done that, we gotta cleanse ourselves with some pirates. So the Great Pirate Era has begun.
These words lured men to the Grand Line in pursuit of dreams greater than they'd ever dared to imagine. This is the time known as the Great Pirate Era.
The Great Pirate Era has begun.
So, should we start talking a little bit about some of the story arcs and get into
Yes, absolutely. Where would you like to start?
Well, if we're going to start anywhere, we ought to start at the beginning.
All right. So the first arc is called Romance Dawn. It encompasses chapters 1 through 7 in Volume 1 and episodes 1 through 3. So basically, this is just the beginning of the story, and with the manga, where it starts is with basically the story of how Luffy got the itch to become a pirate, and we see the person that you see before you, red-haired Shanks, already on his way to becoming who he is, starting his adventures, and little old Luffy, he's like, I want to be just like you, Shanks. Well, unbeknownst to Luffy, Shanks had actually obtained a devil fruit, specifically the gum fruit, and he wasn't. He didn't tell Luffy what it was, or if he did, he wasn't harsh enough with him as far as the don't eat this. And Luffy can't swim, so he's known as Anchor. But why don't you go ahead and tell him what the whole thing with the devil fruits are, for those that don't know.
So the thing about the devil fruits is they will give you great immeasurable power. However, you lose the ability to swim, and you will then sink like an anchor within water. So as the series goes on, you find out there's like sort of special properties you'll find that can actually kind of negate the powers altogether. And it's really fascinating to see with the fruits just how crazy he can take these powers.
Yes.
And one such example is there's someone who eats. You find out that there are different types of fruits. I think some fruits have an animal theme, so you can turn into the full animal. Some give you an elemental power, so you could become like a man of fire. And then others just have random miscellaneous powers, such as Luffy's, where he becomes like rubber.
Yeah, the Rubber Man, as he calls himself to start with.
And all of them do share that same weakness.
Yes.
With the water. You'll find, but one of the neat things is Oda's found ways to take this concept and turn them into some amazing powers. One of my favorite ones, for example, is a guy eats one and gets the powers of a giraffe. So he could turn into a giraffe, and he finds ways to make him into a terrifying like monster of a swordsman with this power.
Oh, yes, indeed. And a few things notated here. I don't think I said hello, but hello, Alan Copeland. It's good to have you here today. And let's see here. Did you know that in the original manga, Luffy was going to get his straw hat because of his grandfather instead of Shanks, but then Oda changed it? I did not know that.
Yeah, this was part of the original kind of manga idea that I think was just called Romance Dawn.
Ah. And hello, Table Talk Junkie Games. Welcome to you. What's up? We're talking. Yep, we're in the very beginning. We haven't gone too far, but yes, if you are going to go watch One Piece, yeah. Right now we're up through, as it says here, chapter 42 in the manga. If you're going to read it, or episode 18. So yeah, we'll definitely catch up with you next month when we talk some more about it. And I do like Captain Buggy. That's the next one. Captain Buggy was fun. And, well, that's a side effect if you want to live near the ocean and don't want to travel on it, yeah. It was a very interesting thing. It's a good plot device. You know, you can get these, immense cosmic powers. Itty-bitty living space.
It's a world that's like that. I think it's at one point it was said something like 90% water. Like that's just the world is that large, and there's so many little islands.
Yeah. The world. I haven't seen much of the world map, but that's what I was noticing is vast oceans, tons of oceans, over the top amounts of oceans, way more than what we have here on this planet. But to not be able to swim definitely has its drawbacks. So, of course, Luffy, being a kid at the time, wanting to be like his like Shanks, eats the fruit, and then Shanks is like, "You idiot! if you couldn't swim before, you really can't swim now. And it was interesting how that was part of the first few chapters of the manga, but this doesn't get touched on until episode 4 of the anime. Just a little rejiggering of it in comparison to starting exactly with that point. I thought it was an interesting choice, but now that I've seen it, I guess it was a good choice to make. It worked out in the end.
Yeah, you do want to start with a bit of action, especially for a show. You don't want to start with just kind of the longer drawn out the origin of him being this little kid. You want to start with like kind of getting to be just as shocked as those pirates in the Alvina Pirates when they first all discovered like his stretching ability.
Yeah, exactly. And let me see if I can find it here. I've got episode 4 queued. I won't play it obviously because of the thing here, but let me see if I can find. There we go. So, where the manga starts off, and in episode 4, they're talking about how did you get the straw hat? Well, he gets it from his idol, Red Hair Shanks. As you can see, his nickname is Anchor. And Shanks is like, yeah, boy, you can grow up, become part of the crew. And I do like the fact that they show off a lot of the crew here. And of course, he's like, yeah, you're never going to be able to do it. Ha ha, you're a juice drinker. Ha 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 ha. It's like in Skyrim. Oh, you a milk drinker? Someone stole your sweet roll. So he's like, nobody does that. How dare you make fun of me? Then, of course, an antagonist on this island comes in who's wanted and tries to antagonize Shanks into battling him. And
It's
ahead.
like Star Wars with when Luke goes to the cantina and the doctor and the walrus man are like, my friend doesn't like you. I don't like you either.
Yeah, very Star Wars like, that's true. And I do want to say hello to Snafu. One Piece is overrated. Maybe. But at least in this early stage, I don't think it is. But everybody is entitled to their opinions, and here's what I've been told. This show has some of the highest highs, but it also has some of the lowest lows. And when we do get to those lows, we will talk about them. And the one thing that I will guarantee everybody here, we will be open and honest about what we like, what we don't like, what things maybe we could have seen that Oda could have done differently. But at the end of the day, it is his work. Everything is pretty well set in stone. And yeah, we just move forward from there. And I know this is kind of spoilery, but he got it from Goldie Roger, and it was worn by Joy Boy and given to Shanks because, as I found out, Shanks was actually part of Roger's crew before he set off on his own.
But he's not the only one who's part of that crew, we find out.
Yeah. But, Shanks, he's a very tolerant person. As he puts it, he himself can take the abuse. He doesn't care. Because I can see why Luffy has such a tough time. He likes kicking people's ass, but I don't think he has the want or the need to kill. Not like how traditional bloodthirsty pirates that you see throughout history do. He doesn't have that in him. He doesn't want to do that.
And my understanding is I think part of these ideas kind of stem from some of those original ideas that Oda wanted to do. That he wanted to tell a story with like two groups of pirates, one that were a more bloodthirsty type, and then another type that were more of a adventuring. Adventurers.
They're the adventurers. Yeah, they're doing it for the fun, not for the getting booty is one thing. Both in the literal sense and in the money sense. Getting booty. I'm sorry, that was a stupid joke. Anyways, he wants to be more like Shanks, and he sees how Shanks does stuff, and then he eats the devil fruit, and he's like, "You idiot, spit it out," and then he becomes Rubber Man. So, as it goes along, we have this guy who's who's just an asshole on the island, being a continual asshole. He pisses Luffy off. He tries to beat him. Shanks and everybody shows up to help defend the boy. And actually, we'll do just a tiny, tiny little bit. About right here.
You're a lost cause, which you can regret in the next life.
Oh yeah, and then Shanks shows up and all hell breaks loose.
Please, you have to let him go! I was wondering why the bar was empty on such a fine day. So, it's the mountain bandits again.
The whole crew.
Mountain bandits.
Yeah, the mountain bandits. And then they keep going. They yap at each other, and he's like, Shanks. Now, exactly. And we're going to see why. So, I hate to have to cut it up like this, but with the YouTube thing like it is, trying to be careful. Just so everybody knows, I do have this stream monetized. The odds are with the clips that I play, if I go too long, they're going to try and claim it. So if, to help support this channel, any and all super chats are definitely welcome in it. It definitely helps me to be able to do these without having to fight with YouTube. So, yeah. So nice to see the old ship again after it. Yeah. Here we go.
I'll blow your head off if I have to, but that's up to you, my friend.
That's up to you, my friend. Well, as it's said here.
Would you risk your life?
Would you risk your life? Famous words that'll get repeated.
Oh yeah, no, I totally
Now
forgot
that
that
you've-
was a mantra. That's practically a mantra with the series, where and with everything they're always like saying, do you believe in this so hard you're willing to die for for your cause?
Yeah,
Live and die for it.
exactly. You willing to live for the cause? You willing to die for the cause? And just like you see with this, Oda gets the whole purpose of guns. Guns are not toys. If you pull a gun, you had better pull it to use it, and by God, you better have the right reason to use it.
Now that you've drawn your pistol, are you willing to use it?
What the hell are you talking about?
I'm saying that guns aren't for threats, they're for actions.
And action was taken to protect the captain.
By the way, that big guy is one of my favorite characters in the series, and like you never see him without a bit of meat in his hands.
Oh yes, gotta have the meats, and they're just like, they knew Shanks was serious. Now, I did not know this, and I didn't when I watched the Red film. I didn't notice it at first, but let me skip ahead here just a bit. So after he saves Luffy from that, the mountain bandit escapes with Luffy out into the open ocean when this guy shows up.
Yeah, these are what would go on to be called sea kings, the giant sea serpents that you see just massive wide varieties of them within the opening. One of them is like a flamingo with like all these little layers of fluffy.
Yeah, exactly. And that's why Han shot first, or in the case of the real Star Wars, he shot under the table without him noticing. But yes, a Sea King. So he's out there. He drops the boy in. And then Shanks shows up. And this to me exemplifies everything about Shanks's character. His basically his love for Luffy, which you would have to love a kid like that in order to do what he does here. Yeah, and hello to Low Spec Linux Laptop. Welcome to you. Great to have you here. Okay. The ones in the deep ocean are very old and intelligent, and they could hear the voice of him. Okay. So these creatures have more of a role to play eventually. Okay.
Oh, they absolutely become relevant here or there. They're brought up, and just to show for a little comparison's sake here, I have a picture up here just to show you just how big they get.
Wow.
This, you'll notice, like right on the tip of the nose here. That's the
ship.
Yes.
Holy crap, they're huge. Holy shit. I wasn't expecting them to be that big. That's monstrous.
They are islands.
And I want to say hello to Dennis McCullough, channel member extraordinaire. And actually, he was the first channel member. Hello to you, and thank you so very much for the $5 super chat. A lot of these people look like they should be working on a fast food restaurant. I wish you safe travels on your journey looking for the One Piece. Absolutely, indeed. And thank you so very much for the $5 super chat. And for that, you get Luffy. Oh, yes. You get Luffy. Thank you so very much. I appreciate that. And let's see. In hindsight, Shanks Well, hold on. Let's bring this back up and we'll
get things.
Get lost.
Badass.
Get lost. Even at that point, even though Shanks wasn't at his full, not at his full everything yet, you could definitely see that he respects him. That look. The look of a man determined. That's the look you don't want from Shanks, because it means you're about to have a very bad day.
This big old barracuda-looking sea king thinks it's the apex predator that it met Shanks.
Yes. And he's like, F that shit, I'm out. I'm out. And then we break away. Let's see. Yeah, that was in the TV show. Or at least all these TV shows, they have a point where they do like a spot where they can do the TV break for going out and then coming back in. That was that from one of these first episodes.
In your dead.
Yeah, my guess is they probably hadn't quite realized like which one, what song we're doing for what character or what have you.
Yeah.
Each character has their own mini tune, which by the way works great for like a little notification on your phone. I've used a few of them myself.
Indeed.
Told me everything about how you stood up for us, how you were willing to fight and put yourself on the line.
He was willing to put himself on the line, willing to risk his life for him.
You can't cry. You're a man now.
You're a man now, Luffy. You're a man now.
But Shanks, your arm! Your arm!
Luffy, it's just an arm.
Yep, and he still has his other one, as he says. So
Yeah, he still has the important arm.
Yeah, his sword arm, his right arm, the dominant arm. But yeah, I never noticed it in the One Piece Red film that he was just one-handed, or that he only had just the one arm. But I did take another look at it, and yeah, he's got just the one. And as Pap puts it, he's been disarmed. Yeah, exactly.
Oh yeah, no, they are great little beats just for kind of getting the personification of the characters down.
Yes,
like Zoro's kind of has this sort of Wild West kind of vibe to it, where it's like the kind of thing you expect to hear when like we're about to draw at like the high noon duel.
Yeah, absolutely. And even with just the one arm, Shanks obviously goes on to bigger and greater things, even though at that point, it looks like he'd been a captain for at least several years, and of course has the scars to show and everything else that goes with, with being a pirate on the run. So, yeah, that's the first arc, the first arc, Romance Dawn, the very beginning of Luffy setting off on his adventure, and of course he... Let me see if I can find it here. He runs into a kid that had been part of another crew, conscripted, let's say, and wanted to become a Marine. Let's see if I can find him here. And the first battle dealing with a Marine captain that's a complete and total asshole. Let's see if I can find it here. So,
well, also, just real quick to kind of address something earlier was mentioned about the sort of pothole thing of Shanks losing the arm. Oda is famous for his planning out of things, but there are some ideas that where he'll just kind of make things up on the fly and go. For example, we'll later meet the sort of Luffy's peers of what get called the Worst Generation.
mm-hmm.
A lot of those characters were made up on the fly, on the spot. There was no planning going into them, but they sort of worked out for him. And I mean, also as time goes on, he kind of changes some ideas and go into it. Yeah, it's kind of an unfortunate thing of like this could have been thought out better, but I think it's a total badass moment, and you will never forget like the sacrifice Shanks makes just to save Luffy.
Yeah, exactly. And at the very beginning, he meets this boy who was basically a conscript on a pirate ship. He wants to be a Marine. They take him to a Marine base, or Luffy gets him to a Marine base because he wants to get Zoro. And the kid ends up helping him defeat this complete and total scumbag of a Marine captain. And of course, we get our first look at Nami in this episode. He defeats the dude and helps the kid become a Marine. As it's pointed out here, if they knew about his past, it would preclude him because he was part of a pirate crew. Well, the one thing about Luffy is he's willing to help out a friend, even if he's only known him for a little bit.
The whole thing just became official.
We appreciate everything you did to save our town from that horrible tyrant who terrorized us all for so...
Yep. Terrorized. Then they're forced to go. And then Luffy does this.
You wouldn't! Yeah, there was this fantastically fat pirate lady. I think her name was Alvida. Luffy!
The kid doesn't get it at the time that he's trying to be helped out by Luffy, but he doesn't quite see it until...
Hey, yeah, let's not overlook when he says how big she is. If you wouldn't mind, let's get an idea of just how big she is. If you wouldn't mind pulling up my screen for a second.
Yeah, she's huge. Damn. I'm gonna say, yeah, if you want to take out a contract with the Dark Brotherhood, you'll have to take out 2. Damn, she huge.
But much like many of the characters in this series, she will make a return. That isn't giving away too much because I don't want to let you in too much about how she comes back. So,
interesting.
Look forward to that
Doing
one.
up to this point.
So, Luffy helps him by smacking him, getting the kid so upset to where the Marines say he can't be a pirate. And then he just walks away and he gets accepted as a Marine. I have no idea if he comes back or not, but Luffy helped his first friend fulfill his dream by becoming a Marine. Even though the Marines are vowed to take out all the pirates, he still helped his friend. That's a character. It's an interesting character development for Luffy, doing things like that for people that he likes, even though it could eventually come back to bite him in the ass. But he still does it anyways.
Yeah, Luffy's kind of this character who sort of follows his heart as he goes. It's like, this seems like a good idea. No, this isn't right. We're here. This wrong should be righted. It makes it interesting because, he just kind of goes where his gut leads him, and it winds up leading them into all these adventures where practically everywhere they go, they wind up finding some interesting things going on.
Yeah, very, very true. So yeah, it's I really do like Luffy. He's a character that grew on me. I didn't think that I'd like him originally because of how he looks. He kind of looks like a goober, acts like a goober, but when he actually stops acting like a goober and gets serious about stuff, he becomes a very dangerous opponent for pretty much anybody.
And mind you, for years and years, like what's interesting is for years and years, this is a shonen anime where you don't where you really didn't get a ton of power ups. It's like Luffy stays fairly consistent. He doesn't really, for the longest time, no new forms, no new changes. It's just Luffy is just Luffy.
Yeah, that he is. So, but that's the first arc. We meet Luffy. He gets he recruits Zoro, or as he's known in the manga as Zolo. Don't know why. Did they ever correct that, or did they just keep going with Zolo?
No, I think it is kind of hard. I think it's kind of more. It's kind of gone long term to Zoro.
Okay.
I've seen that like the subtitles the subtitles use Zoro. Some of the mangas use Zoro. Some of them are Zolo because I think it references his name he was sort of named after like a famous French pirate. But I always just kind of gravitated towards Zoro because, well, obviously the famous like hero of Zoro.
It's much more known, a much more known name, an easier name to say. His name is very difficult for me to pronounce, so Zoro is just easier. And to answer your question, I believe we're going to be doing this monthly. So it'll give everybody time to to read the manga if they want to watch the anime, but still have plenty of time to watch their current season stuff or to go through other things besides it. Because as much as awesome as I think One Piece is, and as much fun as I'm having with it, I can't be I can't be completely enraptured with it. So yeah, about once a month is when we'll do this.
Yeah. I didn't want to sit here and like monopolize it because like. It's a series that should be kind of, I feel like, enjoyed with time.
Savored.
Yeah, thank you.
Yes, marinated and then eaten with precision and with, as the delicatessen or the delicacy that it is. Oh, yes. So go ahead.
I want to ask, what did you think about our first couple of villains? Because we sort of overlooked them in that quick covering because we had Alvia, who we just saw as just big lady with a big spiked mace, basically.
Yeah. She's okay. And it sounds like she'll be making a comeback. So, not too threatening, or at least not to Luffy. Not too threatening. The Marine captain, yeah, he was kind of menacing and all that. They were okay. Not the greatest of initial starter characters to go up against, but then again, who typically is the best first villain? It's a tough one to establish.
It can be a little tricky to get those, to like find that gold in the first try. Sometimes it takes a little bit of effort to work.
Yeah.
But eventually you get like, I mean, I think a better villain was Axe Hand Morgan. When we got him as like sort of the second primary villain.
Yeah, and he was okay. Just a complete and total a-hole. That's all he was. But I do like who they run into next, and his crew. They were just fun.
Before we get there, real quick, I do want to kind of talk about Morgan and his son Helmeppo. Because Helmeppo does come up again, and I feel like he should at least be sort of addressed because I think introducing those two is kind of important, not just because they're like a couple of the introductory villains, but because it also goes to show like the Navy, which has some relevance.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, he does come back later. But
so he stops being such a little turkey and comes back.
Yes. Yeah, he's got this little like page boy haircut. Like he looks like he's gonna put his finger in a dike.
Yeah, he looks like a weasel to start with. So yeah, so there's him, and then of course his father, who was in charge of the island, was Captain Morgan. Not the spiced rum, but One Piece. Here we go. Axehand Morgan. Yeah, he's definitely menacing looking, and of course willing to kill anybody just because he feels like it. Not that Captain Morgan. That Captain Morgan.
And I mean, because like I said, it shows sort of this budding of the Navy, the Marines being, supposed to be the good guys, but that you can find that corruption in them. So you have a pirate here who's supposed to be a good guy, going up against the military.
Yeah.
And so you can kind of see that juxtaposition there, where normally it would be the other way around.
Yeah, that's true. He's supposed to be part of the good guy organization, but he's a complete and total douchebag. Whereas Luffy is, pirate, supposed to be a bad guy, but he's really the good guy in the whole thing. Yeah, the twisting or the turning of that is definitely an interesting turn of events, and goes back to the dichotomy that you mentioned about the two types of pirates that we run into: the Luffy type, the Shanks type, or the other traditional bloodthirsty, Mama Alveda, Buggy the Clown, Captain Crow, all those that we eventually run into. So
it's also during this arc that we meet the first mate, the most badass swordsman.
Yes, Rorondo Zoro. Zoro One Piece. Let me get some images of him, because he is indeed quite awesome. I do rather enjoy his character, even though the English voice actor may be a complete and total asshole. I still like Zoro.
Yeah, he's one of the most badass characters around. And a lot of this you'll be seeing is his the post time skip appearance. So it's kind of one of those unfortunate things of, the crew you see does undergo some changes as the series goes on.
Yeah. There we go. That's how he is to begin with, or more like how he is to begin with. And of course, he's trying to become a master of the three-sword style. And they didn't do too much of his backstory in these first episodes, but what they did do is they showed him up against basically, I think it was like his sensei's daughter or something like that, and she could always beat him, and she's like, I can only beat you now. You're only going to get taller and stronger as you get older, whereas I'm at my peak. And it's in the manga, it does dive a little further into it to begin with. I don't know if the anime does eventually, but the
next episode will actually kind of do the backstory. So episode 19 will.
So the one that we didn't quite get to, it does dive back into where the manga did explain it a little earlier on. Okay.
If I had been paying a little bit better attention when I was kind of putting out the episodes, I might have suggested we cover that one as well.
Yeah, but it's a good backstory, and it does help build the reasons why he doesn't do just one sword. He doesn't do just two swords. He does three, with one in his mouth. How much more badass can it get than that? That's just.
I love the image here of even like the sheaths of the swords off to the side. You have all these little pokey bits sticking out. He looks way more intimidating and badass because of it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, I'm also amazed at how he can talk perfectly with a sword in his mouth.
Yeah, that he does. He does talk perfectly with the sword in his mouth. But besides that, we also run into Nami originally, and she has changed a lot over the years. So this is more how she was at the beginning. Short-haired, perky, absolutely adorable character.
It's a great character design. He's got these big eyes, the bright orange hair. There's a lot of orange. Orange is sort of her color theme.
Yes, it is. And I have noticed that as time goes on, her hair gets longer and the clothes get skimpier. But who are we to argue?
She's a cat burglar, so it sort of works to distract with the body. It's a weapon you can make use of.
That she does, and that's something that's been that's been being taken away from the femme fatales is that is a tool of the trade. If you have the looks, you need to use it to your advantage, especially with what she does, which is a treasure seeker from other pirates, and only from other pirates, because she hates pirates. And they don't really they haven't really dove into her character as to the why or any of that yet. We just know that she hates him. She joins Luffy because she thinks he's okay. And it's almost like the two... It's like Luffy and Nami, I think they have kind of a connection to each other. They seem to have a... I wouldn't necessarily say at this point an attraction, but at least a mutual respect. Especially when we go through the third arc, dealing with the Black Cat pirates.
Yeah, well, I mean, the thing is, the series doesn't really delve into a whole lot of real romance. Like, yeah. I think Oda's always kind of said that, like, he never really intends for them to become any couples. Although that doesn't stop fan fiction writers. They will pair everyone and everyone. I'm sure there's been, like, Zoro and Alvida out there.
Ew. Oh, people are strange. But out of all of them, at least to begin with, I can see why her and Luffy would get along pretty well, especially after the end of that third battle. You know, she supports Luffy. So, but she's a great character, and I think it's time that we take a quick little break. We'll do another little One Piece break, and then we'll dive into the second arc, which is called Orangetown. But before that, I like Django. I think he's hilarious.
Some nut job is on his way here and he only walks backwards. You liar. It's the truth. There he is. Hmm?
Now which one of you people has the nerve to call me weird?
Which one of you have the nerve to call me weird?
Hang on. There's something important you have to address in the chat there, Brandon, from Shum.
Yes.
The chat is demand for you.
Yes. That is indeed the case. Her boobs get bigger. She gets a little older and fills out a little more. That is true. She's a very beautiful character, very well drawn. Even in the original hand drawn, like what we're seeing in the show, she's very cute, and she does it for a lot of reasons. I can see that. So the second story arc is called the Orangetown arc, and it's referred to as the Orange Islands arc. As Luffy and Zoro aimlessly sail across the sea, they end up at Orangetown, an island under siege by clown-themed pirate Buggy and his crew. There, Luffy meets a pirate-targeting burglar, Nami, who he wishes to recruit into his crew as his navigator. Because Luffy's a complete and total dumbass when it comes to the sea, so...
And Zoro himself is quite famous for one of the worst sense of direction ever.
Yes, both him and Luffy don't have a sense of direction, but we get our first pirate captain, Captain Buggy the Clown, and his crew. It looks like he makes an appearance again later on, but he's a very interesting character, of course, being clown themed, but he has a thing about his nose. He doesn't like his nose to be talked about. And as we come to find out later in this arc, he actually ran with Shanks during their days on Goldie Rogers' crew. And they were best friends. They were buds. They were, compatriots. They pirated and plundered together. What can you say about Buggy the Clown and his interesting crew?
I'd say they're very flashy.
Yes.
As the Buggy himself. It works because this is also a chance to sort of this is the first chance to see a pirate crew that has a theme to it, which becomes a running motif of the series as it goes forward. It's a big circus. Everyone there has some sort of circus act, and it works to show just how creative he can get with a lot of the powers. I mean, how deadly can how deadly he can make an acrobat.
Yeah, very true. Yeah, his whole crew motif for this one basically is a circus. So Buggy the Clown, clowns and circuses. Yep. His first mate is basically a lion tamer who also himself looks like a lion. His second in command is an acrobat. And then most of the other crew looks like they came from the circus. And yes, it is... Beardwaddle has it right. It's fun, silly, and does set a tone that lets you know anything can happen and show up in any episode. Exactly, and that's what happens with this one. Runs into them, and Buggy likes to terrorize towns with his buggy balls, which are just basically just massively powerful cannonballs. And we see what happens when they get unleashed on the town. But Buggy has an interesting power set. What is it that has happened to him?
Well, you see, much like Luffy, Buggy the Clown has consumed a devil fruit himself, one that goes by the name of the Chop Chop fruit.
Yes. And what? Let me see if I can find. Let's see if I can find it here. Which episode was it that had it? I think it's this one. So with the Chop Chop fruit, what does it allow his body to do?
So he can so the Chop Chop fruit allows him to separate himself as though he were chopped, like clean.
Yes.
So his hand can come off and basically be sent out to grab you, which makes it which in this world it's really interesting because Luffy isn't affected by bullets; they can bounce off him, whereas Buggy can basically ignore swords.
Yeah. Let me show a little bit of this here so we get an idea of what he can do. And of course he's peculiar about his nose. He doesn't like people talking about his nose.
So, are you telling me that Shanks saved your life?
No, that's not the point I'm trying to get across.
And of course, in this episode, they have the backstory about him and Shanks together, how he ended up with the fruit. And Buggy really is a pirate. He was willing to steal from his own crew and take off to start his own, which is what he was going to do. But he realizes that they have a devil fruit. He tries to make everybody believe that it's gone, or that it was a fake, and then ends up consuming it himself when he tries to hide it from Shanks.
And I mean, one of the neat things with this arc is there is a theme of treasure throughout all of the Buggy the Clown arc, the Orange Island arc, where you have Buggy and to a degree Nami as these people who will see that like treasure is like the most important thing, like get all the treasure, and Luffy's a person who for himself, like the straw hat is his most prized treasure.
Yeah, they all have their treasures, and not everything that's a treasure is gold or pearls or money. And as we see in other parts of this, there's a dog whose treasure is his master's food store, and his master passed away, but he still defends it because that's his treasure. The mayor of the town is his treasure, and he's ashamed that he didn't fight for it as hard as he should have to begin with, but realizes that, even if somebody like Luffy, who has no ties to the town, is willing to defend it, then he needs to. Even if the odds are against him and facing certain death. Victory or death. One of those two. But as we see here, Buggy doesn't like Luffy making fun of his nose.
Because of what he did to me, I was unable to swim and therefore unable to obtain my sunken treasure.
Yeah, he was wanting to get treasure that has been sunk to the bottom of the ocean, but since he can't go into the ocean, because when he does, he can't move.
Right.
So he's like
the devil fruit curse.
Yeah, the devil fruit curse. Yeah. He's not a dog like Iggy and JoJo's, no.
Then I had a revelation. If I couldn't go underwater, then I'd just obtain all the treasure on dry land.
Yeah, so he's a dry land pirate, more or less.
On dry land.
So we get to see, I think he's about to, he's going to separate. They're going to separate. He's going to separate. Really? Instead of combining, he separates.
Using my brand new chop chop powers. And now I won't let anyone who touches my treasure live. Death to those who try to pilfer my hard-earned treasure!
Yeah. He tries to take out Luffy, and unfortunately for him, it doesn't quite go the way that he wants. And the townspeople are like, where's the mayor? He's been gone too long.
Well, you see, Buggy sort of forgot to protect his jewels.
Yeah, well, let's see, where is that? Oh, here we go. Yeah, he sees Nami. Tries to go after Nami, and Luffy's like,
Back here, you thief!
Damn it! He spotted me!
damn it, he spotted me, and Luffy's like, wait a minute. What's this?
You don't stand a chance of escaping from me!
No one stands a chance when he's up in the air. Well, we're about to see.
Ow! I'm going to flashily chop you up!
At least he's willing to use some physical humor with this.
Ouch!
Ow! My balls, that was a cheap shot!
That was a cheap shot. It was indeed. And of course, we kind of skipped over it, but Zoro does battle with his first mate, the lion tamer, and the acrobat, or Luffy does battle with the acrobat, and this is a fun story arc. I did like it, and when we get to the go ahead.
Kind of show you all the crew getting a chance to fight against people sort of like based like them. Like Zoro's fighting a guy with you have your crew member with swords fighting the guy with swords. You've got Luffy fighting the guy with the really weird power. Nami's doing your stealing thing.
Yeah. And when Buggy recovers, he decides to break himself into smaller pieces.
I'd like to see you try and save your friend from me now, Gum Gum!
Damn it! He broke up into smaller pieces!
But he left his feet on the ground.
What the?
Which, as we see, is a dangerous thing.
Give me back my treasure!
Gucci, Gucci, Gucci. Ow! Starts pulling on his skin. Oh, yeah. Oh, there's the yellow warning sign of sadness. Got to give it just a second here. Then we'll pick it back up. While we're waiting for that, we'll go ahead and take a quick little Django break.
I'm just a normal guy.
Is that so? You look insane.
Don't be silly. I'm just an ordinary run-of-the-mill hypnotist.
I run this all the time.
Oh, yes. Well, anyways, Luffy gets him, terrorizes Buggy. Buggy tries to pull himself back together. But what happens after he smacks his foot, and Nami smacks him in the face, he tries to pull himself back together. Let's see, where is that? Oh, here we go. Smacks him. And here's where Buggy becomes what he's known for, which is being tiny.
This isn't over yet, Gum Gum!
This isn't over yet, but it should be, and it will be here in just a second. And
I'll get you yet, Gum Gum.
Exactly. And hello to the Peter Venkman fan site. It's good to have you here this for you. Early afternoon. Welcome to you.
He's still alive!
Shut up there. Let's see. So we'll skip it just a smidge. He tries to put himself back together, but this is what happens.
Chop pots!
Wait a minute. Where's the rest of his body? Where'd it go? Oh, that's right. Because Nami got the rest of his body, tied it together. And that's how Buggy the Clown gets defeated and becomes literally a quarter of the man that he was. And then gets pistoled out.
Used to be.
Indeed. He's a quarter of the man that he used to be. But his crew is fun. This was a fun story arc. It was serious, but it didn't take itself too seriously. It was just a lot of fun, and I thoroughly enjoyed this arc. So yeah, he's a quarter buggy.
So, what did you think about sort of this introduction with Nami? Because I think you're getting to see her as sort of much like the rest of the crew, much like the others. She's also kind of unique in her own way. She's a thief, but she's like, I only steal from pirates.
Yes, yeah, that she does. She's as the thief. She does have that side of her, so that does make her, bad in the eyes of the Marines. But she's not stealing from the townspeople. She's not stealing from anybody. She's stealing it from people that have already stolen it. So in her mind, that's perfectly fine. And I actually really like her. She's a very nice character, a good balance, some intelligence with the sea compared to Zoro and especially Luffy. Now, let's face it, Luffy is he's not very good when it goes to the sea. He's lost for how to do it. He's just very lucky. Yeah. So, great characters, more introduction, and then we go into the final arc that we're covering today, which is the Syrup Village arc. So, the Syrup Village is also referred to as the Gecko Islands arc. It's the third arc in the anime and in the manga of the East Blue Sea saga. Luffy, Zoro, and Nami arrive at Syrup Village looking for a ship where they meet Usopp. And I like Usopp. He's an interesting character, but he's known as the local village liar. After they learn of a secret plot against Usopp's friend Kaya, they decide they have no choice but to help him defeat Captain Kuro in order to save her. So yes, Captain Kuro of the Black Cat Pirates, which is where we meet Django, and the second in command, the what's their names? The twins, the cat twins.
Mian Ban.
Yes. So with this, we've got another themed pirate. All the crew looks like they have cat ears, and of course the captain, Captain Kuro, as you see with his hands, he keeps his fingers away when he pushes up his glasses. Yes, exactly, because he has very devastating weapons and techniques.
And yes, to confirm it for everyone, that is in fact poop on his coat.
What? Where? Who? Who has poop on his coat?
Captain Kuro.
Oh, the poop. Poop emoji. Yes, a unique style indeed.
Actually, so this was from I think the cover of volume 4, and I love the way this is drawn. It's like using the hat as sort of a transition. You got Luffy there. You get to see how terrifying the crew is above for Kuro's people. I think it's a brilliant cover for the manga.
Yes, yes, indeed it is. And let's see, yeah, that's what I've heard, is that eventually happens. He's not a liar. Everything he does say, yeah, happens. So, and let's see here. Something that's going to pop up here in just a second. There we go. Oda tends to put a lot of poop as an parlay from Dr. Slump homage. Indeed, Mr. Oda is very interesting. That is true.
I mean, he did work he did work alongside Akira Toriyama when they were working for the mangaka for Rurouni Kenshin.
Yes. See, I did not know that. I know that he'd worked for a lot of people, but the who he'd worked for was never a big thing to me. So, yeah, here we have the Syrup Village arc. And, of course, Usopp and his Usopp Pirates. He goes through and every day goes to the village and says, the pirates are coming, the pirates are coming. He's basically the boy that cried wolf. And then he goes to her house to help Kaya, to help lift her spirits up, because she's had a very rough life. And of course, the guy that's supposed to be the good guy, the butler, turns out to be Captain Kuro. And as you can see, he's got cat claws for weapons.
We should kind of cover real quick. What did you think of Usopp when you first like saw him with the series? Because he's a bit of a I think his appearance of that is kind of divisive. I know when I first started reading, I was like, oh, this guy's ugly. Why is this guy here?
Why does he have such a big nose?
Yeah, I mean it's obvious. It's kind of a nod towards sort of a Pinocchio thing, the long nose for being a liar.
Yeah, I like him as a character. You know, the whole part about him being a perpetual liar, it does eventually play into, people not believing him. And as we go along, Captain Kuro uses him as part of his plot precisely because he knows that nobody in the village will believe him when he actually does tell the truth, which he's been saying basically from the beginning. Pirates are coming. Well, they're there. And I like him. He's the son of a pirate who is actually part of Shank's crew, as he talks about his father's a pirate, and we eventually realize that he is part of the crew because Luffy recognized him, and then made mention of the fact that yes, I know your dad. He's part of Shank's crew.
Yep.
So we get that tie in, and of course, with Usopp being the captain of the pirates, he's got three kids from the island who are his pirate crew, and they all play a role in helping save Kaya from being killed by the butler. In this case, the butler did try to do it, to steal her fortune. But as it turns out, Captain Kuro there doesn't want to be captain anymore. He likes the money, but he doesn't like having the Marines up his ass the whole time.
Right.
So
I'm sick of it all.
Yeah, sick of being chased down. So he wants the money, he wants the peace. He doesn't want people, as I said, up his ass all the time. So he devises a plan where Captain Kuro is captured and killed. The Marines are satisfied. He stumbles upon this island, gets in good with the wealthy people. The wealthy people end up dead, one by accident and probably the other one not by accident, and keeps working it to where he will inherit all the money left to Kira by making her sign a document turning everything over to him before she has an unfortunate series of events. And of course, his first mate and replacement, Captain Jongo, is there to help carry it out. And yeah. And hello, CobraCon 007. Captain Kuro equals Captain Black, maybe a Captain Scarlet, and the mysterious Captain Scarlet, and the mysterious Reeve. Very possible. There's a lot of things about that. But with this theme, the Black Cat Pirates, they're all cat-themed, with the exception of Django. He doesn't have that. But every one of the pirate crew have little cat ears for hats.
Cat ears that even like the white of their eyes is blacked out.
Oh, yes. And of course, Usopp decides to join them when it's all said and done. But with this arc, it's a little longer. The original... Let me back it up here. So, Romance Dawn only took 3 episodes. Orange Town took 4. This one takes 9 episodes to go through. But we go through the beginning to the end, and it does follow the manga pretty well precisely, beat for beat with everything. And what's up with the stream elements thing? It keeps saying that it's running.
Oh, that's from my end.
Oh, that's from your end? Okay. Now I see it now. It is indeed running. So I did like this arc. I like the setting. I like the story involving Usopp. His past, they dive in quite a bit to his past. They dive into a bit of his past with Kira, how Kuro ended up at this place and set his plan into motion. And of course, the battles in this are quite extensive, quite a bit there. And this is the first time that Luffy, I think, is really threatened, or actually gets hit and sustains scars. You know, he does end up getting slashed because of Captain Kuro. So I really did enjoy this arc. It was a lot of fun to see, and of course Usopp talking about all of the different adventures to Kira to help lift her spirits. You know, landing on or finding a goldfish, landing on the goldfish at the age of 5. That's as giant as an island. All that stuff. It was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun.
Well, and a fish so big that when he landed on its poop.
Yeah, exactly. Landed on the poop of the fish. And speaking of, Django may be a good hypnotist, but he's also kind of an idiot.
Okay, you convinced me. Now watch the ring closely.
What a ham.
So, by the count of Django, you'll be in a deep sleep. All right, are you ready? 1, 2, Django!
Who is this freaky weirdo?
He hypnotized himself. If he doesn't tuck his eyes or prevent his eyes from seeing it when he says it, he hypnotizes himself.
Yep.
But I actually really did like. I really did like the character of Django. He's interesting as a first mate, and then eventually as a captain. His power set's pretty decent. Although he's got his own idiosyncrasies that he has to deal with, but he was just a funny character, and as you see, he was the one that I focused on for creating the little breaks there. So
yeah, he's got a good memorable design. Obviously, there's the Michael Jackson kind of callbacks with the heart shaped glasses he wears.
Yeah. Yeah, always wearing the glasses, and you wouldn't think just by looking at him that he'd be much of a threat, but his little talisman there does make for quite a powerful weapon. A lot more powerful than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah, I mean, it like I said, it goes into showing how they'll come up with some creative uses for weapons. I mean, at one point we'll come across someone who uses 8 swords for their style, but again, that'll be a little sooner than you might think.
Mm. Yes, indeed. And as I said, I really did enjoy this arc. It was, as I said, we're starting to see a trend of increasing the length of the arc versus the first 2. But
by the way, I have something to show off real quick.
Oh, yes. Let's see. Here it is. There we go. Oh, so that's what he looks like without his glasses.
He has heart-shaped eyes.
Hence why he has heart-shaped glasses. Start a cotton war. Oh, yes. Yeah, I'm getting there. I think that's probably fairly close to where we'll end up at for next month, but we'll see. But overall, I said I did enjoy this arc. They finally get their ship. The Kaya had the money. She had the ship. They gave him the ship, and eventually Usopp decides to join him because the call of the sea, the call of the pirate, is just too strong for him, and he thinks he's going to set off all on his own, but he's actually invited by Luffy to come join him. And he's like, really? It's like, we're friends, aren't we? And then he breaks down crying and all that. And Zoro's like, why are you crying again? Stop that.
I think it is worth kind of taking a moment to talk about the ship itself, because it is such an iconic piece of the show, the Going Merry.
The Going Merry
is a character in and of itself on the with the series. There we go.
Here you go. Yes, indeed it is. A nice little ship, not too big, but definitely a lot better than the little dinghies that they were trying to sail on. Yes. And then of course they come up with the Straw Hat pirates, the pirate sail design, as opposed to the traditional Jolly Roger or that.
What's kind of neat is actually there are some internal schematics that have been shown off for the inside of the ship, so you can actually get a sense of how the crew live in the ship.
Interesting.
So this is our little general meeting room. It has, we got a little refrigerator. We've got a place for wine and beers. Rather than having a traditional steering wheel, they just have this. They just have this pillar. They turn left and right.
Interesting. Yeah, it's a very nice design for a ship. Like I said, I've only just been introduced to it, so I don't know too much more about it, but it looks like they're going to have a lot of great adventures on it, and they'll, yeah. So the men's room, okay, so of course you got to have your liquor and water barrels, relaxing table, relaxing couch, totally relaxing, hammocks, emergency exit, connects to the women's room. Luffy, Zoro, Usopp, and Sanji's resting room and bedroom. Really cramped, but since it's a boys' room, it's okay. Yeah, that sounds about right. So,
we also have the storage and cannon deck.
Very nice. It's a very well thought out ship. I'm actually now. Is this all designs from Oda or?
I believe so. I assume so, considering he was. I'm assuming this was all his ideas.
Well, to answer your question, Pat, we're probably going to be doing this for years. That's probably the more accurate term. So then the women's room. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I was like, it's a nice long series, but it's fairly consistently good. So it's a nice constant to have.
Yes, indeed. So we've got the women's room. It's Nami's room, and it's clean. Now, is it just Nami, or I believe we get another female eventually, right?
Well, we get another female crew member. Plus, there has been the odd companion that have stayed with him for a time of the female persuasion.
So Nami gets her own room, and as you can see, it's much cleaner, yes. And it has its own liquor. Okay, so the bar was installed by Toro-san, a carpenter in Kokoyashi. Okay. Very nice. Very well thought out ship. A very nice ship.
Heck, there's like another one or two of these, just to show like how much of this ship was all planned out. If you notice, there's also not a whole lot of room for like real treasures ultimately.
Yeah, not a ton of room for treasure. Yeah, that's true. Do have a forward cannon, not very common back then, but it has it. What else do you have here for us about the ship?
And then finally, because we had to have a bathroom.
Wait, it has plumbing in it?
I know. It's like they thought about all the modern conveniences, like a refrigerator.
Yeah, things that typically don't have electricity, but they've got it. That's cool. That is a very nice ship. Very well thought out.
This is where the bath and the toilet are, but the men don't seem to use the toilet very much.
Well, when you can just off the side, it's makes it that much easier. But yeah, a little harder for the female persuasion to just drop trow and drop it off the side. Yeah, I understand that. I get it.
Apparently, there were originally 2 of these water drawing machines, but Luffy broke one of them.
Of course he did. Oh, yes. So our time has come and gone. That is chapter 1 through 42 and anime 1 through 18. I have to admit I have really enjoyed this as it stands right now. I have this as a 9.7 across the board for both the manga and the anime. It's been a lot of fun. It's been a lot more fun than I thought it was going to be. And I can't wait to keep going through these story arcs, covering as much as we can. And this is just something we'll just continually do once a month, and we'll definitely put notice out there for everybody as far as what we're going to be covering next. And if you want to try to keep up with us, or get the manga and read it, or watch the anime, it's readily available. It's not expensive. Plenty of places that you can get it from. And yeah, for me, at this point, it's a 9.7. I can see why this has been so popular for so long. What say you about your rating for this one?
It's something early in, I think it's a good solid probably 8.5, 9. I love it. I love the series, but I think the series could. I feel like it doesn't quite get there yet. The next probably 2 arcs are where it really hits in, and then it gets to that like 9.75. I'm not quite a 10, but it really hooks you. And the thing is, with One Piece, it's those moments where someone will break down and where someone who will be the most prideful person ultimately breaks down and is like, Luffy, please help me. And then I'm there. Yes.
Absolutely. And
emotions.
Yeah, we'll see about doing that with you, Zanzel10. We'll see about that. Yeah, the One Piece is a nice break from more serious stuff, at least early on. I don't expect it to make it to the end, but each small story arc is fun to get caught up in. Absolutely. And that's what we're just going to do. We're just going to take it just one chunk at a time, one piece at a time, literally one piece at a time. Yeah.
I guess the question is, how much should we try to bite off for the next chunk? Because
well,
looking 2 arcs sort of tie in closer together. So I don't know if you want to try to do it just as the one and then have that sort of cliffhanger for we got to get to the next one. I'm looking forward to it.
Well, looking at it here, the first season ends with episode 61. And at the arcs, the next arc is the Baratai, the Arlong Park, Logetown, Buggy's Crew Adventure Chronicles, which are all on the covers of chapters 35 through 75. But there are 2 episodes dedicated to it. And then there's the Warship Island, which is a filler arc, which is not in the manga, but encompasses episode 54 to 61. So
what I'm thinking is maybe just if the minimum is just Barati, but I'd like to try to do Barati and Arlong Park. I think those 2 work really well together.
I think we can do that. I'm gonna say I've got through volume 9 on the manga, so I'm good there. The amount of episodes there's not too bad. And over the course of a month, I think we could buzz through the 22 to 24 episodes. So yeah, let's do that. So for next month, let's actually set the date right now. Pat, if you'll note the date, so that way we don't end up double booking or anything. So we've got choices here. The 24th is the last Saturday, and the 30th is a Friday. So let's see here.
I'm thinking maybe the 24th.
Yeah, let's do that. So Saturday, June 24th, 2023, we will continue this series, and we'll be covering the Baratai and the Arlong Park story arcs. So that'll be chapters 42 through 95, which encompasses volumes 5, 6, 7, 8, all the way up to 11. I'm going to have to get another book.
Ooh.
And then episodes 19 through 44. So, yeah, this is a much longer set of story arcs than what we've encountered so far, but I can't wait to go through them. Definitely pace yourself with it. Don't overdo it. You don't want to get burned out on this. And Zanzel10 says Arlong Park, and Mohammed said says that's his favorite story arc. I can't wait to read them.
Arlong Park is absolutely one of those storylines that really, really hooks people. And I think it's sort of like once you get to that point with it, if you weren't hooked by then, you probably won't ever be.
Yeah,
it's one of the first sagas that really has that emotional hook where you might where I've seen people have kind of broke down crying, kind of reading through some of it, and then just that satisfaction. Yeah, Luffy kick his ass.
Most excellent. I myself plan on reading it first, and then I'll watch the anime. That's I typically have a little more time during the day while I'm at work that I can break away and read versus watching the anime. It's a little harder to do. So, But yeah, that's what we'll cover here in about a month. So yeah, for all of you out there, if you're going to catch up and read it with us, the Baratai and the Arlong Park arcs, which covers up through volume 11, chapter 95, and up to episode 44. So, Ironcaster, what have you got coming up here in the next little bit?
Well, coming up here in about 3 hours or so, I'll be on with T-shirt Historian for the Week in Geek, where we'll be probably talking about whatever Wizards of the Coast did this week. And boy, do they love to sure do it.
Yeah, Wizards of the Coast love to step in their own poop. That is very true. And then for myself, I think I'm gonna start pulling down some of my older live episodes, move them over to a live channel, the backup channel that I have, start slicing and dicing, doing some more weekday releases, and of course Tuesdays and Thursdays. I think that's a good time. Tuesdays and Thursdays, 8 p.m. for anime chat. Since it's not dark, I can't do after dark, so it's going to be anime chat, and we've got some guests lined up, and we'll see what comes out Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, and of course tune in every Saturday at 12 p.m. Eastern time, where we'll have another guest on, and we'll talk some anime, and also keep up with the current season. And I got to start diving into some other older shows that I've been meaning to watch. I just haven't had the time to do so. Got a lot on my plate. So with that, everybody, I appreciate you all being here, and we're going to leave you today with the outro. Take care, everybody. We'll see you later.
That's it.
I'm gonna go eat that Helsing bitch!
I got your arm.
Don't shove it up your ass!
Well, that's not fair at all.
I'm sorry. We don't give a fuck.
Suck